vibration, you'll draw the same timeline again. This is why cycles repeat, why breakthroughs fade, why progress feels slippery. It isn't a lack of discipline, it isn't weak desire, it's resonance. You're tuned to a station that only plays one song. Picture a radio. Dial it to 88.3 and you'll never hear 106. 7, even though both streams exist in the same room, quantum reality works the same way. Infinite versions of you exist, one still gripped by fear, another healed and luminous, another abundant, another aligned with love. They all broadcast simultaneously. Which one you embody depends on your frequency. The problem: most people try to drag the old station into the new one instead of turning the dial. Here lies the first truth: the quantum shift cannot unfold while you cling to the old vibration. The universe isn't punishing you or withholding what you want. It simply responds to the signal you emit. Letting go isn't weakness, it's frequency mastery. It's retuning the instrument of your being so the music of your life can finally change. Now comes the paradox. Your mind convinces you that holding tighter protects you. It says if you release the job title, the relationship, the identity, you'll fall into nothingness. Familiarity feels safer even when it suffocates. Yet that very comfort is the cage. You're standing with one foot in the old station, one foot in the new possibility. The longer you straddle both, the more drained you feel. Your soul longs to leap while ego pleads to stay. Notice what happens in your body as you hear this. A tightening in your chest, a pull in your stomach. This is not resistance to my words. It's the old vibration resisting its own death. Because once you let it go, it dissolves. Still, something deeper inside knows. Something has been waiting for this moment, this message to whisper you're ready. Think of a butterfly clinging to its cocoon, wings formed, colors shimmering, yet the weight of the shell convinces it to remain. If it refuses to release the wings, wither flight never begins. You are that butterfly. The cocoon is the old vibration. The sky waits. Understand this in quantum reality. Transformation doesn't require time, it requires alignment. The shift doesn't crawl in gradually. It arrives in a single collapse of probability, a sudden surrender into a higher resonance. That moment could be now, within the silence of your next breath. Preparation isn't the key. Willingness is. Visualize a guitar string vibrating. Bring another guitar nearby. Without a touch, the matching string begins to hum in sympathy. That is resonance. The quantum field behaves the same. Once your vibration changes, the field responds instantly. Reality reshapes itself around the new frequency. What seems like magic is simply physics. Think of your own life. Recall the times you clung to control, rehearsed fears, tightened your grip on outcomes. What followed? Doors closed, tension grew, opportunities slipped. Now recall the moments you surrendered, not from apathy, but from trust. The phone rang, the solution appeared, synchronicities lined up. That wasn't luck, that was resonance responding. This is the choice before you. It's not about which job to take or which relationship to chase. It's about which self you allow yourself to vibrate as. The quantum shift already hums in the space around you, waiting for you to tune in. The only barrier is your grip on the old signal. Release it and the field rushes in. Your reality bends, timelines leap, life resonates with the truth of who you've always been. Feel it now, not in your mind, your body. The hum beneath your skin is an invitation. It isn't danger, it's possibility. Let the old vibration dissolve like mist under rising sun. Let your frequency rise to meet the self that's been waiting for you all along. You stand at the crossroads. The choice is simple. Keep repeating the old song or tune into the symphony your soul came here to express. You've been taught that identity is solid, a fixed core you must protect. Yet, what if the you defend so fiercely is nothing more than a costume stitched together by memory, fear, and habit? The illusion of identity is the single greatest trick your ego has ever played. It whispers, "This is who you are. Don't let go or you'll lose everything." That voice feels convincing, but it's the echo of the old frequency begging to survive. The truth is far more liberating. What you think of as yourself is only a pattern, a vibration you've chosen again and again. Ego thrives on continuity. It feeds on repetition, on the safety of knowing tomorrow will look like yesterday. That's why it resists the quantum shift. It interprets surrender as death, even though what's dying is not you, but the shell of you. Imagine a snake refusing to shed its skin. The scales harden, growth stops, the creature becomes trapped inside its own armor. The ego is that hardened skin. Your authentic self is waiting beneath, ready to expand into a larger, freer space. Yet as long as you grip the old shell, the new self cannot emerge. Every morning before you even open your eyes, the illusion of identity sets in motion. You recall your name, your worries, your plans. You step into yesterday's clothes without noticing. You repeat emotions, recycle thoughts, replay decisions. This ritual reaffirms the ego's hold. You aren't waking up fresh. You're waking up as the old you again, collapsing infinite possibilities into the narrow corridor of the familiar. It's as if you have an entire orchestra at your disposal, but you choose to play the same single note again and again, convincing yourself that's all there is. Now imagine standing in front of a mirror. What you see is not truth but reflection. You lift your arm, the mirror lifts with you. You smile, the mirror smiles back. Identity works in the same way. You mistake the reflection for the source. The ego shows you a version of yourself, but it isn't the essence. It's only the image created by patterns. To break the illusion, you must recognize that you are not the reflection. You are the awareness observing the reflection. The one watching is free, limitless, untouched by the mask. Here is the paradox: the more you try to fix the ego, the stronger it becomes. You polish the mirror, add affirmations, set goals, upgrade the mask. Yet all of this still reinforces the false self. True liberation requires collapse. It requires you to stop propping up the illusion with attention. When you release identification with the old version, something astonishing happens. The reflection fades and the authentic self steps forward. Think about your own life. How often have you acted out of fear of what others will think? How many decisions have you made just to maintain consistency with who people believe you to be? That is ego at work. It demands loyalty to an identity that may not even be yours, and every time you obey, you trade freedom for safety. Yet safety is an illusion. The only true security lies in alignment with your essence. When you release the mask, you gain everything the mask was trying to promise. Pause here. Ask yourself, who am I if I stop rehearsing this story? Who am I without the labels, the roles, the achievements? The mind panics at that question. It rushes to fill the silence with answers. Yet in that silence lies the gateway to the quantum shift. In that gap between identities, your true self waits. Let me give you an image. Picture a stage actor who has worn the same costume for years. The audience knows him by that role, applauds him for it, yet off stage he no longer remembers who he truly is. One night he removes the costume. For the first time in decades, he sees his own reflection, not the character's. At first it's disorienting, even frightening, but then he realizes, this is me. This has always been me. That moment is terrifying for the ego and liberating for the soul. Quantum reality reflects this truth. The observer effect in physics shows that reality responds not to the object, but to the observer's perception. When you cling to the old identity, you keep observing from the same frequency, and the universe keeps matching it. Release the mask, and suddenly the field reorganizes. Entirely new versions of reality come online, not because they appeared out of nowhere, but because you finally stopped filtering them through the illusion. Feel into this: the ego is not your enemy. It is simply a structure that kept you safe when you didn't know your true power. Yet it was never meant to be permanent. It was scaffolding, not the cathedral. The cathedral is you, the vast consciousness beyond personality, beyond story. To reclaim that essence, you must let the scaffolding fall. Right now you may sense resistance rising. That's natural. The ego fears dissolution. It tells you that without it, you will disappear. Yet what actually disappears is the limitation. What remains is expansive awareness, the self that has always been untouched by fear, untouched by time. When you realize this, the illusion shatters. You see that what you thought was identity was only a mask worn in the play of life. You are not the mask. You are the light shining through it. This is the crossroads. Cling to the shell of who you've been, or step into the infinite possibility of who you truly are. The ego will fight to keep its illusion alive, but your essence is stronger. It whispers through every moment of dissatisfaction, every longing for more, every glimpse of beauty that feels too vast for words. That whisper is the real you, calling you forward. When you answer, the illusion crumbles and the shift begins. Alchemy was never about turning lead into gold. That image, repeated through history, was always a metaphor, an encoded teaching, about the transmutation of the self. Ancient alchemists knew that the heaviest substance you carry is the weight of your old identity. They called it the prima materia, the raw material of transformation. It appears dull, dense, immovable. Yet hidden inside that heaviness lies the seed of your liberation. The process of alchemy begins the moment you decide to let go of the weight and allow fire to reshape it. Think of your life as a crucible. Every experience, every challenge, every heartbreak has been heat applied to the vessel of your being. When you resist the fire, you feel consumed. When you surrender to it, you discover that the fire is not here to destroy you, it is here to refine you. Alchemy works through surrender. Lead does not argue its way into becoming gold. It melts, it dissolves, it yields to the flame. In the same way, you cannot argue the old self into becoming the new. You must allow it to dissolve. There is a sacred principle in alchemy known as solve et coagula, dissolve and reform. First, the substance must break apart, lose its rigid form, enter chaos. Only then can a higher order emerge. Apply this to consciousness, and the message is clear. The old self must break down. Patterns must collapse, ego must loosen its grip. Only in that dissolution can your authentic essence crystallize into being. Yet, most people resist the breaking apart, fearing the chaos that comes before renewal. They cling to the shape they know, never realizing that the very chaos they dread is the gate to freedom. Imagine water turning to steam. In liquid form, it moves predictably, contained by its vessel. Under heat, it begins to vibrate, faster molecules, flying free boundaries, dissolving. What once seemed solid suddenly disappears into invisible mist. Yet in that transformation lies greater freedom, greater expansion. Your consciousness works the same way. As you release the old vibration, your being accelerates, expands, slips out of the container of identity. You may feel ungrounded, uncertain, even invisible to yourself. That is not failure. That is alchemy in motion. Pause here. Notice the areas in your life where fire has already touched you. The heartbreaks that scorched your illusions, the losses that reduced you to ashes, the nights when your old life burned down around you. Those moments were not punishments. They were the furnace of transformation. The ashes of the old self fertilized the soil where the new self takes root. Nothing was wasted. Every flame was fuel for your becoming. The mystics understood this long before science could name it. They spoke of death and rebirth, the dark night of the soul, the descent into the underworld. These were not poetic flourishes, they were maps of the alchemical journey. To reach illumination, you must pass through dissolution. To rise, you must first descend. The phoenix does not upgrade its feathers. It burns, crumbles, vanishes, then emerges brighter than before. That is the law of alchemy. That is the path of surrender. Now bring this into your present. Ask yourself, what are you still clutching that longs to burn? Which roles, beliefs, or stories feel heavy, dull, lifeless, yet still cling to you like lead? Perhaps it is the story that you are unworthy of abundance. Perhaps it is the identity of being the strong one who must carry everyone else. Perhaps it is the belief that safety lies in staying small. These are the leaden layers waiting for the flame. The alchemist within you is ready to cast them into fire. Here is the paradox. You cannot force the transformation. Fire responds to openness, not control. The moment you surrender, the process begins. The heat that once felt unbearable becomes the very element that reshapes you. Fear loses its grip. Resistance softens. In place of control arises trust that the dissolution is making space for something higher to emerge. Trust that the essence of who you are cannot be destroyed, only revealed. Picture a sculpture hidden inside marble. The stone looks solid, unremarkable, yet the artist sees the figure waiting within. With each strike of the chisel, pieces fall away. To the untrained eye, it looks like destruction. To the sculptor, it is revelation. Your old identity is the marble. Life with its challenges is the chisel. Each loss, each release, each surrender chips away what is not you. What remains is the radiant essence that has always been there waiting to stand free. This is the alchemy of surrender, to stop clinging to what is melting, to let the fire complete its work, to allow the old self to dissolve into chaos so the new form can crystallize. chaos is not your enemy. It is the womb of transformation. Within its formlessness, the blueprint of your highest self begins to assemble. The alchemists called this the magnum opus, the great work. In modern language, it is the quantum shift, the leap from one vibrational state into another, from limitation into possibility. So feel into the flame now. Let it touch the parts of you that feel heavy. Allow the lead to soften, the identity to melt. You are not losing yourself. You are refining yourself. You are dissolving into the truth. And in that surrender, the alchemy begins to reveal its secret. The gold was never separate from the lead. It was hidden inside all along, waiting for you to let go. Science and spirit were never meant to be enemies. They are two languages describing the same mystery, two doorways leading into the same vast hall. When you release the old version of yourself, you begin to glimpse how those worlds converge. Physics calls it quantum entanglement. Mystics call it oneness. Both describe a truth that rattles the foundations of ego. Nothing is separate, not even you. Entanglement proves that particles once linked remain connected no matter how far apart they travel. Shift one and the other responds instantly beyond space and time. Your consciousness functions in the same way. Every thought, every emotion, every vibration sends ripples across the field, instantly shaping what appears around you. You don't simply observe reality, you participate in weaving it. The bridge between quantum mechanics and spiritual awakening is this: your energy is not local, your frequency extends beyond your skin, beyond your mind, into the fabric of existence itself. Pause and feel this. The energy moving through you at this very moment is not trapped inside your body. It is interacting with the field around you, mingling with frequencies you cannot see. That's why certain rooms drain you while others fill you with light. That's why some people feel magnetic while others feel heavy. You are not just inside the field, you are the field. The illusion of separation comes only from the ego's insistence that you are small, isolated, defined by skin and story. Science and mysticism whisper the same revelation: you are woven into everything. Now consider what happens when you cling to the old self. That vibration becomes the signal you broadcast across the field. You entangle with matching energies, relationships, circumstances. Hold on to fear, and fear-laden realities magnetize toward you. Release the old vibration, and suddenly you shift which web you resonate with. This is not wishful thinking. It is resonance physics. The field responds not to your surface thoughts, but to your embodied frequency. Think of a tuning fork. Strike it, and a second fork across the room hums to the same pitch. You didn't touch it. The vibration carried invisibly through the field. Quantum entanglement works like that on a cosmic scale. When you elevate your frequency through surrender, you activate harmonics in the field. New opportunities, new allies, new synchronicities begin humming toward you. It feels like coincidence. It feels like divine orchestration. In truth, it is resonance pulling itself into form. This is why letting go of the old version of yourself is non-negotiable. You cannot entangle with higher realities while anchored to outdated vibrations. Imagine trying to send a radio signal from 1940 and expecting a satellite in orbit to respond. The hardware doesn't match. Frequency mismatch prevents communication. When you cling to the old identity, you broadcast in an outdated code. The quantum field simply mirrors it back. When you release the code, upgrades. Suddenly you are fluent in the language of creation. Mystics across traditions hinted at this bridge long before laboratories caught up. Sufi poets spoke of dissolving the false self to merge with the beloved. Tibetan masters taught the practice of dropping identity to touch the clear light of mind. Their language was spiritual, yet their description aligns perfectly with quantum principles. Release the localized ego and awareness expands into the field. What appears as mystical ecstasy is, in physics terms, a shift in vibrational state. Think of your subconscious as an iceberg. The small tip above water is your conscious mind. Below the surface lies the vast mass, beliefs, emotions, patterns you rarely notice. That submerged mass vibrates continuously, entangling with the field. When you try to manifest from the conscious tip while the subconscious mass vibrates fear or scarcity, the signal is split. The field mirrors the stronger broadcast, which usually comes from the depths. Letting go is the act of melting that frozen mass, allowing the hidden frequencies to dissolve so the whole iceberg can recalibrate. Ask yourself, where in your life are you still entangled with an outdated signal? Which relationships, routines, or inner narratives keep echoing the old vibration? When you hold those frequencies, the field must reflect them. This is why change often feels impossible. You cannot pull new possibilities into form while gripping the cords that tie you to the past. The bridge appears only when you cut those cords. Here's the miracle: the moment you do, reality responds faster than you can imagine. Entanglement is instantaneous, no delay, no waiting period. The very second you shift frequency, the field shifts with you. That's why synchronicities multiply when you surrender. That's why the right people appear, the right words surface, the right path unfolds. You stepped onto the bridge. You aligned with the field. Now breathe. Let yourself sense the web of energy around you. Imagine threads of light connecting you to everything: the sky, the ground, the people you've yet to meet. Each thread vibrates, awaiting your signal. When you release the old self, your vibration changes the entire network. You are no longer an isolated drop struggling to control the ocean. You are the ocean realizing itself through the drop. This is the revelation at the heart of the quantum shift. Separation was always the illusion. Ego said you were alone, but physics and mysticism both prove you are entangled with all that is. When you let go of the false self, you reclaim the truth that has always been yours. You are not here to push against reality. You are here to co-create with it. The bridge is already beneath your feet. Step fully and the field will carry you across. There is a hidden machinery inside you, silent yet relentless. It operates beneath the surface of your conscious thoughts, shaping choices before you even realize they've been made. This is your subconscious, an engine of vibration, a reservoir of energy, the invisible architect of your reality. While the conscious mind declares what you want, the subconscious broadcasts what you believe. That broadcast moves straight into the quantum field, sculpting the experiences you call life. Think of it as a theater. On stage, under the spotlight, the conscious self delivers lines with confidence: I am abundant, I am worthy, I am free. Meanwhile, behind the curtain, the subconscious whispers lines written long ago: I must struggle to deserve, I am not enough, safety requires control. The field doesn't respond to the stage performance. It tunes into the backstage whispers because those carry the stronger vibration. To truly transform reality, you must go backstage. You must uncover, then release the hidden patterns vibrating through your subconscious. Consider the repetition in your life, the relationships that replay with different faces, the financial patterns that loop despite your efforts, the emotions that return like tides. These repetitions are not random. They are feedback from the field, revealing the programs still alive within you. Every frustration, every cycle is a mirror not of your conscious wishes, but of your subconscious frequency. The old self lives in those programs, clinging to survival strategies learned years, even decades ago. To step into the quantum shift, those buried patterns must be dissolved. Now pause. Let your attention drop below the chatter of thought. Feel into the body. Notice how certain memories still create heaviness in your chest, knots in your stomach, tension in your throat. Those sensations are subconscious vibrations made physical. Energy trapped in the body repeats itself until you allow it to move. This is why letting go is more than a mental exercise. It is an energetic release, a surrender that frees the hidden charge so your vibration can recalibrate. The subconscious does not speak in language. It speaks in images, sensations, and frequency. That's why affirmations often fail. You can say, I am confident 1,000 times, but if your body still vibrates with the memory of shame, the field hears the frequency of shame. Letting go means allowing those frequencies to surface without judgment. When you witness them fully, without clinging, without resistance, they begin to dissolve. The hidden machinery loses power, and the signal you send to the field shifts. Imagine an old record player. A scratch on the vinyl causes the needle to loop the same note endlessly. That loop becomes the song of your subconscious. You cannot shout over it from the surface. You cannot force the needle forward with willpower alone. You must lift it smooth, the scratch, place it down in a new groove. Letting go is that lift. It interrupts the loop long enough for a new melody to emerge. Science echoes this truth. Neuroplasticity shows that old neural pathways weaken when no longer rehearsed, while new ones grow stronger with attention. The subconscious is not fixed. It is malleable, waiting for you to stop feeding the old grooves. Every moment you release attachment to an outdated belief, a new network begins to spark. Slowly then, suddenly, your brain and body align with a new identity. The field mirrors the upgrade instantly. Now reflect, how many times have you caught yourself saying, "This always happens to me"? That phrase is a clue. It points to the hidden pattern vibrating beneath awareness. The cycle repeats, not because the universe is cruel, but because your subconscious is consistent. It keeps broadcasting the old code until you disrupt it with surrender. The moment you let go of the story, the loop collapses. A new probability wave rises in its place. The mystics understood this process in symbolic form. They spoke of shadows, demons, inner dragons, not as enemies to be slain, but as illusions to be seen through. The hidden energies of your subconscious are those shadows. When you bring them into light, they vanish. What once ruled you in secrecy loses its hold. This is why awareness alone begins the transformation. The subconscious thrives in darkness. Exposure dissolves it. So, how do you apply this now? Begin by listening differently. When old fears surface, don't suppress them. When anger rises, don't disguise it with forced positivity. When grief trembles in your chest, don't drown it in distraction. Let these energies move. Feel them fully without labeling them as who you are. The more you observe without fusing, the more the subconscious loosens. This is surrender in action. Picture yourself standing in front of a locked gate. On one side, the old patterns guard their territory. On the other side, freedom waits. You can fight the gate, hammer it, argue with it, or you can notice the key already in your hand, the willingness to release. The moment you use that key, the gate swings open. You walk through lighter, freer, vibrating at a frequency that aligns with your true essence. The subconscious is not an enemy. It is a library filled with outdated volumes written by a younger version of you. Letting go means choosing which books you no longer need, thanking them, and returning them to the shelf. You are not erasing your history, you are ceasing to let it write your present. In that freedom, a new story begins, one authored by the self that has always been waiting beneath the noise. The hidden machinery hums quietly, waiting for your recognition. Once you turn toward it, once you surrender its hold, you step out of repetition and into creation. This is the power of letting go. This is the path from subconscious entanglement to conscious co-creation. When the masks fall away, something extraordinary happens. At first you may feel naked, unprotected, stripped of the armor you once believed kept you safe. Yet in that rawness, you uncover a truth so luminous it cannot be hidden: your essence. This essence has never been touched by failure, never been reduced by rejection, never been diminished by time. It is the radiant field that has been waiting underneath every role, every mask, every false identity. Reclaiming it is not about becoming more, it is about remembering who you already are. Think of the masks you've worn: worker, parent, achiever, caregiver, survivor. Each served a purpose. They allowed you to navigate the world, to receive love, to feel secure. Yet none of them were the whole truth. They were temporary outfits, costumes in the theater of life. When you mistake the costume for your essence, you forget the light beneath. That forgetting is what keeps the old self alive. Letting go tears the mask gently from your face, so the radiance beneath can shine without obstruction. Pause for a breath. Imagine a lantern covered by cloth. For years you carried it dimmed, believing the world had stolen your light. Yet, when you pull the cloth away, you see it was always glowing, waiting to illuminate everything around you. Your essence is that lantern. The masks were never protecting you, they were hiding you. The moment you let them drop, your true frequency floods the quantum field, and life responds to the light you finally reveal. Here lies the deeper secret of manifestation. Reality doesn't respond to the image you project, it responds to the essence you embody. Pretend to be confident while your essence vibrates with fear, and the field mirrors fear. Pretend to be abundant while your essence resonates with lack, and lack returns. When you reclaim your essence, pretending is no longer necessary. You radiate wholeness, you emanate truth. The field organizes around that authenticity. Consider water in a river. When blocked by debris, it becomes stagnant, shallow, forced to twist around obstacles. Remove the blockage and the current surges, flowing strong and clear. Your essence is that current. The masks are the debris. Remove them, and your life flows with natural ease. Opportunities, connections, and resources arrive not through struggle, but through alignment. This is not coincidence. It is the quantum field reflecting your reclaimed authenticity. Now reflect, which masks are you still wearing? Perhaps the mask of perfection, always striving, never resting. Perhaps the mask of strength, hiding your vulnerability so others will not see your cracks. Perhaps the mask of success, built from achievements that never truly satisfied. Each mask weighs you down, each distorts your frequency. Releasing them does not make you less. It allows you to become more than you imagined, because you are no longer confined by the image you work so hard to maintain. Mystics spoke of this as unveiling. In Sufi poetry, the beloved is revealed only when the veils are lifted. In Zen teaching, the beginner's mind appears when preconceptions dissolve. In alchemy, the gold shines only once impurities burn away. Different traditions, same truth: your essence cannot be earned, it can only be uncovered. Here's the paradox. When you reclaim your essence, you stop chasing. You no longer run after love, recognition, or abundance, because you radiate the very frequency that attracts them. The field brings you relationships that mirror your wholeness, not your wounds. It brings you opportunities that match your truth, not your mask. What once felt like uphill struggle becomes a dance with life. This is not wishful fantasy, it is the mechanics of resonance. The field cannot ignore authenticity. Take this in deeply. The old self-believed power came from control, from holding on, from managing appearances. The true self knows power comes from release. When you release, you align. When you align, you magnetize. This is the heart of reclaiming your essence. You become a tuning fork set to truth, and everything that vibrates in harmony rushes to meet you. Picture yourself standing at the center of a circle. For years, you've held a mask to your face, projecting an image to those around you. They responded to the mask, not to you. Now imagine dropping it. At first, there may be silence, a pause, a recalibration. Then something shifts. The circle responds not to the projection, but to the radiance of your uncovered essence. Some people may fall away, they were only aligned with the mask. Yet new ones step forward, drawn to the frequency you finally allow yourself to embody. This is why reclaiming essence feels both liberating and disorienting. It dismantles the life you built on masks, yet it builds a life rooted in authenticity. The quantum field is not fooled by image. It harmonizes with essence. As you shed what is false, your entire reality reorganizes around what is true. So breathe again. Feel the mask sliding off your face, the weight dropping from your shoulders. Let the lantern shine unobstructed. You do not need to fix yourself, improve yourself, or add more layers. You need only remember. Your essence is already whole, already radiant, already entangled with the infinite field of possibility. The more you allow it to shine, the more life bends to meet it. The shift is not about becoming someone new. It is about finally being the self you've always been beneath the illusions. Reclaim your essence, and the world cannot help but transform around you. When you live as the old version of yourself, you try to force outcomes. You push, you strain, you chase. Yet every time you attempt to bend reality through sheer effort, you meet resistance. Why? Because you are working against the field instead of with it. The quantum shift teaches you something radical. Creation does not happen through control. It happens through resonance. You don't co-create by pushing reality. You co-create by tuning your perception until reality reflects your inner alignment. Think of an artist painting a canvas. If the brush is frayed, if the paint is muddied, the image will blur no matter how skilled the hand. Your perception is that brush. Your frequency is the paint. The field is the canvas. When your inner state is distorted by fear, doubt, or attachment, the picture of your life appears chaotic. The moment you recalibrate your perception, the canvas shifts. The outer world reorganizes to match the clarity within. Here's the key. Most people miss manifestation is not about getting what you want. It's about resonating with what you already are in essence. If you broadcast lack, even from a place of longing, the field mirrors lack. If you broadcast wholeness, the field mirrors wholeness. That's why repeating affirmations without belief feels empty. That's why vision boards taped with desperation rarely bear fruit. The quantum field doesn't respond to words or images, it responds to frequency. Pause here, feel into your own life. Recall a moment when something you desired seemed to fall into your lap effortlessly. You weren't forcing, you weren't obsessing, you weren't micromanaging the universe. You were simply aligned, open, present, in flow. That alignment was your signal, and the field answered instantly. Now compare it to a time when you fought, grasped, clung, doors closed, frustration grew, exhaustion followed. That wasn't punishment, it was friction, a mismatch between inner frequency and outer field. Quantum entanglement explains why alignment is so powerful. Once your vibration resonates with a possibility, that possibility entangles with you. The connection is instant, regardless of space or time. You don't drag the future into being, you tune into the version of yourself that already lives it. Think of reality as an infinite playlist. Every song exists simultaneously. You don't create the song by wanting it, you hear it the moment you choose its frequency. Now let's bring this deeper. The ego tries to manifest by controlling circumstances. It makes lists, sets deadlines, applies force. The authentic self manifests by becoming. It doesn't chase the outcome, it embodies the frequency. If you want love, become the vibration of love. If you want abundance, become the vibration of abundance. If you want peace, embody the vibration of peace. The field cannot help but respond. It is a mirror, not a vending machine. Imagine a garden. If you plant seeds in barren soil, water cannot reach them, light cannot nourish them. Yet when the soil is rich, growth happens naturally. You are that soil. Your frequency is the condition of the ground. Manifestation isn't about demanding the seed grow. It's about cultivating soil where growth is inevitable. The more you align, the more life flourishes without force. Mystics knew this truth. They spoke of effortless action, of wu-wei, of divine flow. They understood that manifestation is not about grasping for the external, but surrendering to the internal alignment. Physics affirms it, perception collapses probabilities into matter. When you shift perception, you shift collapse. What you experience next is the reflection of what you have allowed yourself to become. Now ask yourself, where in your life are you still forcing? Where are you grinding, chasing, exhausting yourself to hold reality together? Those are the areas where the old self still believes control is power. Letting go means trusting resonance over effort, alignment over strain. The paradox is that the moment you stop grasping, reality flows more easily. The current carries you where your essence is meant to go. Picture yourself tuning a stringed instrument. At first it sounds discordant, sharp, flat. You twist the peg, adjusting slowly until the string hums in harmony with the others. Suddenly the whole instrument sings. Manifestation works the same way. You are not dragging harmony from outside. You are tuning yourself until harmony is inevitable. Here lies the liberation. You don't manifest through endless striving. You manifest through being. The moment you align with your authentic essence, creation happens without effort. Synchronicities multiply, opportunities unfold, relationships deepen. Not because you forced them, but because you became the resonance that calls them forth. So breathe into this truth. Co-creation is not a technique. It is a state. The more you release what is false, the clearer your frequency becomes. The clearer your frequency, the more the field mirrors it with precision. Let go of the old version of yourself, not to lose something, but to align with everything you've been seeking. The song you long to hear is already playing. All you need to do is tune in. There comes a point when the old story no longer holds you. The masks crumble, the subconscious patterns dissolve, the illusions of control collapse. What remains is a threshold luminous and still where you stand face to face with the truth of who you are. Crossing this threshold is not about stepping into another role, it is about stepping out of roles altogether. You are not here to patchwork a better identity. You are here to embody the essence that has always been beyond identity. This is the threshold of the true self. At first, this moment can feel unsettling. Without the old identity, who are you? The familiar voices of ego grow quiet. The stories you rehearsed for years no longer echo. The silence can feel vast, almost unbearable, yet stay with it. In that silence lives the frequency of your authentic being. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it simply shines. Like the sun, it does not strain to give light. It radiates because radiance is its nature. Picture yourself stepping from a darkened room into open sky. Your eyes struggle at first, adjusting to brightness. The instinct is to retreat back into shadow. Yet once your vision clears, you see colors, horizons, depths you could never have imagined indoors. This is the shift. The ego may beg for the old room, but your essence invites you to stay in the vastness. That vastness is where co-creation happens, where life and you are no longer at odds, but move together as one flow. This is the moment when you reclaim the role of alchemist, not a seeker chasing fragments of truth, but a creator shaping reality through frequency. You begin to sense energy not as a theory, but as a texture moving through your body. Vibrations rise and fall, and you notice how quickly perception shifts when you stop clinging. The illusions break, the ego dissolves. What remains is essence entangled with the quantum field, free to manifest not from desire, but from being. Think of it as the difference between wanting light and becoming fire. Wanting keeps you separate from the thing you seek. Becoming makes you indistinguishable from it. This is the distilled truth of the journey. The quantum field mirrors who you are, not what you wish for. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you embody. The more you embody your essence, the more the field reorganizes around that wholeness. Now breathe, sense the possibilities humming in the space around you. Infinite versions of reality already exist, waiting for you to tune into them. Each breath, each thought, each surrender is a choice of frequency. When you choose essence, you choose liberation. When you embody authenticity, you step into alignment with timelines where peace, abundance, and love are not fantasies but natural reflections. The quantum shift is not distant. It is immediate, happening in the moment you release the old and live as the new. So how do you carry this forward? Create a daily practice of tuning. Each morning, pause before stepping into old patterns. Ask yourself, what vibration am I embodying right now? Let your body answer before your mind interferes. Breathe into areas of contraction until they loosen. Speak one word that captures the frequency you choose to live: peace, clarity, radiance, love. Hold it not as a wish, but as a resonance. Then move into your day as if you already are that word. Because you are. Let your practice be simple. Notice when old masks try to slip back on. Notice when subconscious loops begin to hum. Instead of resisting, smile. Recognize them as echoes of a story you no longer live. Release them gently. Recalibrate. Return to essence. Over time, this becomes natural. You no longer fight the old self. You simply stop feeding it until it withers from lack of attention. Now, I want to leave you with an invitation. In the comments, share one word that captures the essence you choose to carry forward. Maybe it is presence, maybe it is courage, maybe it is freedom. Let that word be more than text. It is a quantum seed you plant into the field. Speak it, claim it, embody it. If this message has stirred something in you, if you felt recognition in your bones, I invite you to subscribe. Not as a transaction, but as participation. This isn't just a channel. It's a gathering place for those ready to awaken their inner alchemist, to live as creators instead of seekers. When you subscribe, you're joining a movement of consciousness, reclaiming its power to shape reality. Thank you for walking this path with me, for offering your presence, your energy, your attention. You are not just a listener, you are a participant in the great unfolding. Remember, you don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Step into your essence. Step into resonance. Step into the quantum shift waiting within you. The horizon is already here. The choice is yours.